Have you ever poured your absolute soul into a project at work, only to watch someone else take the credit? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a corporate thriller that proves the most dangerous witness in your office isn't the security camera in the lobby, and it definitely isn't your boss's inbox. It's actually a machine you walk past every single day and probably completely ignore. We are breaking down a story of workplace politics, quiet evidence, and the exact moment the truth walks into a meeting room with undeniable proof. Grab a seat because we are diving right into this.
Just picture it. It's a dark, completely empty office late at night. The hallways are dead quiet, the overhead lights are off, and the room is totally empty except for one single blinking green light. Suddenly, a printer wakes up. It hums to life and spits out a document that is going to change absolutely everything. 11:43 p.m. That is the exact timestamp that will eventually unravel a massive, tangled web of corporate deceit. Today, we're dissecting a brilliantly crafted fictional drama from the Office drama series that perfectly illustrates a very real, very painful workplace phenomenon, credit theft, and the digital footprint that ultimately catches it. We're going to follow our protagonist, Lynn. She's about to get completely erased from her own hard work. And as you'll see, the quietest corner of the office, the copy room, ends up holding the loudest secrets. Part 1. The Stolen Credit. The Phoenix Recovery Project. Every good corporate drama starts with a massive crisis, right? In this case, a major client account called the Phoenix Recovery Project was completely tanking. Deadlines had slipped, and the client sent one final brutal message threatening to leave by Friday. As the source material beautifully puts it, failure had already entered the room and taken off its shoes. Nobody wanted to touch this thing, but Lynn, she didn't run. She quietly opened up a tracker, got on the phone with the client, mapped out every single complaint, and literally worked overnight building a complete recovery model at 2:14 in the morning. And it worked. The account was saved, and her department head, Quan, even admitted that their entire quarter would look totally different if it wasn't for her. But then, 3 weeks later, the quarterly bonus list drops. You know the feeling. Everyone's refreshing the office portal, staring at their screens. Under the client rescue bonus for the Phoenix Project, the money is right. The description is perfect, but Lynn's name is just gone, completely deleted. And sitting right there in her place is Rachel Tran. Rachel is the polished new operations manager who, let's be honest, pretty much just smiled and nodded in the meetings. Part 2, the corporate spin. Gaslighting as leadership. Now, you'd think Rachel would panic when Lynn confronts her about the missing name. But no, she doesn't even blink. Instead, she pulls out the ultimate weapon of bad managers everywhere, polished corporate buzzwords. She actually looks her team in the eye and says, sometimes the person guiding the ship is not the person rowing. I mean, wow. It perfectly captures that toxic corporate poetry that turns blatant theft into quote-unquote leadership ownership. She literally weaponizes the idea of cross-functional alignment just to justify stealing the credit. And when Lynn calmly pushes back, logically stating that the credit should match the actual contribution, Rachel immediately pivots. She looks at Lynn and warns, "Careful, the tone matters." This is such a classic, infuriating deflection tactic. When a toxic manager knows they can't defend their actions with actual facts, what do? They start policing your tone. They try to make you look overly emotional or aggressive. It's purely a mechanism of control.
Part 3, Finding the Receipts. The Digital Footprint.
Fortunately for us, Lynn doesn't just angry, she gets smart. She goes straight to HR, where a no-nonsense, process-driven partner named Vi demands a clean trail of evidence. And this is where Men comes in. He's a quiet data analyst who stumbles upon an absolute smoking gun right in the copy room. He checks the printer's recent job history on the admin screen, and the log is crystal clear. It shows a user named R. Tran printing a file titled Rachel Edit at exactly 11:43 p.m. And then, just 4 minutes later, that exact same user prints a signed version. Min snaps a few photos, sends them to HR, and Vi's response is literally just, do not move.
Armed with that printer log, HR starts digging into the company's document management system, and they unearth the entire undeniable trail. First, they find the original 6:12 p.m. draft of the bonus list, and guess whose name was rightfully sitting on it? Lynn's. They also see that the manipulated, fake file was uploaded to the portal at 11:49 p.m. But wait, it gets better. The absolute clincher is an unsent, auto-saved draft email sitting right there in Rachel's finance queue. In it, she falsely claims that the department head, Quan, gave verbal confirmation to swap the names to reflect managerial ownership. Just unbelievable.
Part 4, the confrontation, the meeting with receipts.
So, we finally reached the climax in the main conference room. Rachel is sitting there, totally composed, ready to spin her perfectly polished narrative to the department head and Kwan, who just got back from a business trip. But her little story is about to violently collide with cold, hard data. HR projects a timeline on the screen that builds an inescapable trap. First up, the 6:12 p.m. draft with Lin's name. Rachel tries to shrug it off, saying, drafts change. But then comes the security data. At 11:31 p.m., Rachel's access card swiped onto the floor. At 11:43 p.m., she printed the edit. At 11:47 p.m., the forged signature. Boom. She is completely, totally cornered by her own timestamps.
And then comes the killing blow. The department head, An Kwan, looks at the file properties on the screen, turns to Rachel and asks one simple question. Why is my signature on a file created while I was flying? Absolute silence fills the room. As the story notes, some lives fall apart because they are deeply immoral. But others, they fall apart because the calendar app has absolutely no mercy. Desperate, Rachel tries one last pathetic excuse. She actually claims she was trying to protect the team from looking like they were playing favorites with Lin. But Lin isn't having it. She looks right at Rachel and delivers this incredible line. You didn't protect the team. You protected the story you wanted the team to believe. It just lands so perfectly, it completely exposes how toxic managers will use the noble idea of protecting the team as a convenient, totally fake shield for their own calculated, selfish actions.
Part 5. Documentation beats rumors. The final lesson. After that confrontation, Rachel is immediately removed from her duties, and the bonus is, thankfully, rightfully restored to Lin. So what should you actually take away from this intense corporate procedural? Well, it's this. Truth does not need to shout when it has receipts. Lin never had to scream in the hallways. She didn't send out angry company-wide emails. A clean, undeniable trail of evidence, timestamps, metadata, and drafts will always overpower verbal spin, polished smiles, and office gaslighting.
If you want to protect your own career in a highly competitive office environment, you have got to be proactive. Make sure project ownership is locked in and highly visible from day one. Save all of your drafts and timestamps so you can validate your hard work, just like Min and Lin did. Never, ever rely solely on a verbal confirmation. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. And above all else, remember that the digital systems all around you, especially that boring office printer, are meticulously logging every single move you make. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on the next time you pour your absolute heart and soul into a major project at work. A stolen bonus can be repaid, right? And a name can eventually be restored. But trust, once it's deleted, does not autosave. The quietest corner of the office often holds the loudest secrets. So I have to ask you, do you have the receipts to prove your worth?